Okay. All right, good evening. Let's call to order the regular meeting of the Moorestown Township Board of Education. The meeting is called in conformance with the Open Public Meetings Act with adequate notice as provided in the Courier Post and Burlington County Times on May 2nd, 2024. May I please get a moment of silence? Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you take roll call, James?
Ms. Arcaro Burns.
Present.
Ms. Aurora. Mrs. Barnes.
Here.
Mrs. Stiles Macaluso.
Here.
Dr. Myatt.
Here.
Mrs. Morano.
Here.
Mr. Weeks.
Present.
Mrs. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Villanueva.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. As we always do, welcome to our student liaisons that always give us reports every month. And so why don't we get going with our freshman liaison, please.
Hi, I'm Eliana Troy McBride, and I'm the freshman liaison. Today I'm going to talk about Moorestown High School's experience with the Covenant House. The Covenant House is a charity that provides shelter, care, and support services to homeless youth and survivors of things like trafficking, and it operates 24/7 in 34 cities across 6 different countries. Their mission essentially is to help these teenagers who are struggling achieve a better life and some kind of stability within their lives to get back on track and kind of find shelter from this trauma that they support and overcome this adversity. We participated in an overnight event called the Sleep Out, which is where students from MHS slept over at Holman Automotive in Mount Laurel on a Friday night with people who had been through the Covenant House and who shared their experiences. As said by a student in my grade who participated, Isabella Calamito, it was eye-opening because people shared their personal experiences from Covenant House during the Sleep Out and how it really affected their lives for the better. They also had a vigil to remember people who went through the house and passed away due to various reasons. The school additionally raised immense funding for Covenant House from participants' donations, as well as different items that we raised over time from the different grades, such as bar soap, chapstick, and deodorant and shampoo, to help these people who are struggling. We will continue to work more with Covenant House, and we look forward to helping the people who go through them in the future.
Great.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, teachers, parents, and the Board of Education. My name is Angelo Bajati, and I'm one of the junior class liaisons. I'd like to take a moment to share some exciting updates from MHS. First, I'm thrilled to report on the incredible success of our first ever Cultural Crossroads Festival, which took place on April 3rd at the high school. The event brought together hundreds of students, families, and community members to celebrate and learn about cultures from around the world through food, music, and interactive presentations. We featured 14 cultures and welcomed participation from a variety of MHS culture-related clubs, as well as student-run tables. We were also honored to have local organizations in attendance, including the Moorestown Rotary Club, Moorestown Lions Club, Muslim Students United, and Moorestown Muslims. The event ended with an exciting flamenco show performance that allowed students and teachers to not only witness but also participate in a rich cultural tradition from Spain. The event created a true sense of unity and appreciation across our community. I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to all of the staff members who assisted with the event, and especially Ms. Trapani, our Cultural Crossroads Club advisor, for her guidance, encouragement, and support throughout the planning process. This event would not have been possible without her, and we are so grateful. Now, I'd also like to give an exciting update on the upcoming MHS prom. This year's prom will be held on May 16th from 7 to 11 p.m. across the Battleship, New Jersey, which is a stunning and historic, mostly outdoor venue. This year's theme is Enchanted Harbor, and the Student Council has been hard at work selecting decorations, organizing catering, and finalizing the DJ, which is bringing the vision to life. Tickets will be on sale starting this week and will continue until next Friday, which can be purchased before or after school in the MHS lobby. Finally, to help cover some of the costs, we'll be hosting a Chick-fil-A fundraiser this Friday, and we'd love the support of the community. Thank you for your time and your continued support of the incredible things happening at Moorestown High School.
Thank you.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. So, I'm going to share a little bit about our upcoming tour for the 50th class reunion. The 50th class reunion was one of the first classes to graduate from the current Moorestown High School building, and we will be welcoming them back to the high school on May the 17th in the morning. Sophomores and freshmen will mainly be expected to lead the tours, as they will not be attending the previous night's prom. Also, another semi-exciting news, course selection is happening throughout the upcoming weeks. Underclassmen will be selecting their courses, deciding what are the hard ones I want to take, what ones are going to be a little easier, what ones, how can I balance the work, how can I balance what my schedule's looking like, and that is a big decision for a lot of people, especially some of the freshmen who will be looking at their first AP classes of their lives. Also, AP exams are right around the corner. Teachers are mostly in full gear, studying, preparing, reviewing, recapping, all in hopes for that elusive 5. I think everyone at Moorestown High School is taking the AP test, is hoping for 5, and trying very hard to just do their best, because as everyone knows, they can make you graduate college faster, or you can just have an easier time in college due to the credits that you can get. The Madrigals took a trip abroad to Vienna, Salzburg, and Prague. They performed a concert in each of those cities and had a great time walking around with their friends, and from what I've heard, it was really a great experience. I can't sing, I wasn't going, but from what I've heard, it was really a great experience. There are upcoming spring concerts for the high school, which are mainly pops concerts, which means you will actually recognize these songs. So, if you're interested, you can show up. They're Wednesday or Thursday in the upcoming weeks. So yes, for seniors, the year's winding down. Not a ton of work for us, but still a little bit of work. We're trying not to let the senioritis bite us too hard. We are doing the very exciting and very popular Senior Assassin, where each person has a randomly assigned target that they are told to go out and shoot with a water gun. I am already out. I was out in a pretty humiliating manner. Not that humiliating, but my experience, I got out pretty quickly. I trusted someone who I really should not have trusted. But, you live and you learn, and it's not the end of the world. Also, finally, this Thursday, May 1st, is official college commitment day, which everyone should have their deposits submitted, and everyone goes to the high school early, repping their college's swag, and seeing where all their friends are going. I personally have committed to Brandeis University, so I'm very excited to be doing that, and I know almost everyone is committed by now, but May 1st is when everything's going to be finalized. So thank you for your time, and I'll let you get on with the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. Well, thanks, guys. As always, very well done, and appreciate the updates. Kyle, you've only got 2 more of these ahead of you as we're winding down. You got May and June. I think we've got a meeting in June before graduation. And congratulations on Brandeis. They're lucky to have you. So feel free to stay or take off and enjoy the nice weather, whatever you guys want to do. So thank you again. All right. I missed our first order of business, which is approval of our minutes from our last meeting. So could I please get a motion to approve the minutes for the March 18th, 2025 executive session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? And then, I guess, Jane, because we did have a special meeting April. I guess we can do that next month.
Those will be on the following.
Got it, okay. All right. Well, thanks. Hope everybody had a nice spring break. We are back at it for the final portion of the academic year. As I just mentioned, the board did have a special meeting a week before spring break to discuss the referendum status. We are pushing forward towards a September 16th referendum vote, and an important part of that process is determining what pieces of the project will be set forth for a vote to the community and the manner in which those pieces will be presented to the community, whether that's a single question, 2 questions, 3 questions, what have you. And so we had an executive session a couple of weeks ago to talk about where we are in the process to start preliminary discussions about what the board thinks would be appropriate in terms of questions to offer to the community. A big part that is missing right now is word from the state on 8 applications that we most recently submitted for the state's review and approval, and their preliminary determination of the costs that will be refunded for those 8 applications. So we are a little bit handcuffed in finalizing any questions to the extent we need information from the state. We hope to get it as soon as possible, but if history serves as a reminder, we were hopeful towards the end of last year that we were going to get feedback from the state sooner than we ultimately got it. So we expect that we will be in a position that we will have information back from the state, hopefully at some point in June. It might not be until July, and if that's the case, the board would have to, we typically don't meet, we typically don't have a regular meeting in July, and so we would have to have a special meeting that would be public for the purpose of voting on the referendum questions, because we have a 60-day deadline. So 60 days before September 16th is the date by which we need to submit the questions to the state for approval so that we can continue moving forward towards the election. So that's where we are. Obviously, more information to come, and I think we've been during this sort of holding pattern. Courtney and her cabinet and administration has been very diligent in helping us get the word out about the referendum. I thank Home and School. They allowed us to go to their book fairs at the various elementary schools. It was either earlier this month or late last month, where we had a referendum table set up where we're there to provide information about it to the extent people have any questions for it. So I'll apologize in advance as we get closer to the September election. You're probably going to see a lot more of us and hear a lot more of us. But we want to make sure that people are educated about the scope of the referendum. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. McNeely.
Thank you. So tonight I wanted to talk a little bit about things that have been going on in the district. I got to attend Snakes and Scales as an assembly at the end of last month. And of course, thank you to our home and school for providing that for our students. And a little known fact about me is that I really actually love snakes very much. And so this was a special treat for me and for the students to get to learn about reptiles. And even we got to touch a boa on the way out, which was great. I also attended Battle of the Books, and if you're not familiar with Battle of the Books, it is a really cool competition that happens throughout our county where students in grades 5 through 8 come together at one location in the county, and they've read a multitude of books, and they learn all they can learn about them. And then there are 2 50-minute rounds of questions that they answer about the books. And I'm so proud to say that WAMS took the win this year for Battle of the Books. And just listening to our students be able to speak so knowledgeably about that many wonderful books was a true testament, not only to our teachers, but then also to our students who work so hard in and out of the classroom. Another Moorestown tradition happened since our last meeting, which was also the science fair. And I want to thank our community scholars who came out and worked with our students to see their experiments and look at their science projects. There were so many members of our community and our students participated. I see some familiar faces from some of the wonderful projects that were there that evening. And of course, our administrators and teachers who worked through that with our students did an outstanding job. We showed yet another commitment in the district to STEM education, and it was a proud night for everyone, of course. I'd also like to provide a little bit of a referendum update. Mr. Villanueva did a great job saying that we have been working hard to get the word out. So thank you to our community ambassadors who have provided tons of recommendations on where we should be and how the word should be getting out. We also have worked many events with our board members, and they're giving even additional time. So thank you very much for that, too. As we move closer to the vote, you'll be seeing us out and about more and more, as Mr. Villanueva talked about. I do want you to know that this week I'll be sending another update to the community to let you know where we are in this process. So stay tuned for that to come out via School Messenger. My final part is an exciting part tonight because if all goes well on this agenda, we are going to be approving a new assistant principal at our UES. And she joined us tonight. Her name is Sarah Smith, and she's in the audience with us, so we can say hi to Sarah. Sarah lives in a close-by community. She's coming to us from Evesham Township School District, where she's a music teacher and most recently served as an interim principal there, actually. What we're most excited about with Sarah, among many things, is the fact that she's focused on student achievement, student success, and working closely with the community and staff to make sure we reach our goals. So Sarah, pending board approval, welcome aboard. We're very excited to see you and have you meet the board. Thank you.
Thanks, Courtney. And let's move right into our board committee reports. Brooke, give an update from the Communications Committee.
Sure, thank you. Communications Committee met on April 15th. In attendance were Mr. Weeks, myself, Mrs. Macaluso, Mr. Villanueva, and Dr. McNeely. And as Dr. McNeely touched on a little bit, we talked about our Community Ambassadors Initiative. The committee reviewed the feedback from the recent Community Ambassadors meeting on April 10th. We discussed ongoing outreach efforts, messaging, and the development of some communication materials. And we are going to be, we were planning on our next ambassador meeting as well. We discussed referendum communications, status of promotional materials, events coverage that also Dr. McNeely talked about, communication channels, and revisions and distribution plans for those events were reviewed. We discussed some of the policy updates that you'll hear from today, communication-related policies such as the cell phone policy and staff involvement in community organizations. And we considered strategies to share information about upcoming policy rollouts involving students and providing transparency in the research and decision-making. And then we had an open discussion about additional outreach ideas and community feedback that was shared both at that ambassadors meeting and that has been involved in the community. Talked about volunteer support and engagement strategies. And that is all I have for the Communications Committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Brooke. Any questions?
So in terms of communicating outside of the district, I know, I'm sure that you guys have discussed that. I was just wondering if you had any definitive ideas of like the best approach to do that, to kind of tap into the voters who don't have kids in the school anymore and who aren't at home and school meetings and things like that.
So we've discussed this with our communications strategist, LBC. So they have some initiatives that they've been talking to us about how they're going to be reaching those different groups and organizations. And then we also, I believe, talked about it. I wasn't at the April 10th community ambassadors, but the one before it, we discussed some ideas about branching out, talking to people who don't have students in the district or people that are coming here or new, new community members moving in that aren't yet in the district.
May I just add to that just quickly? I wanted to assure you that, yes, those conversations are happening, as Dr. Myatt said. One of the things that's great about the Community Ambassadors Group is it is very flexible. And so as we identify more and more people who are joining that group from outside of the specific to the school community as parents, they are joining and giving us opportunities to figure out how to engage with them. And so LBC has been working with me particularly, and this month that will be our focus of how we are communicating to specific groups, because it is a different form of communication for each kind of group. You know, we have different interests in the community that we want to tap into. And another way we're doing that is, you know, I'm presenting at Rotary coming up this month, and I think, Mark, you're coming with me, right? Potentially. But anyway, we do have some events that will do that. We're getting out to Moorestown Day. We have a lot of larger and broader community events that are in the works.
Good question, because yeah,
Yes.
we definitely want to make sure that everybody knows what this is all about. And I mean, personally, what I've found to be effective is, my youngest kid is now in second grade, but oftentimes, you know, talking with parents on the lacrosse field or soccer field or whatever that have younger siblings, you know, the kids have younger siblings that aren't yet in the school system, educating those parents so that, you know, in their networks, in you know, the preschools, they're able to let people know that, you know, look, this is what's happening in Moorestown, and it's awesome for our kids as we get into the district. So there's definitely a lot of demographics that we want to tap into. And Courtney, yeah, I hope to attend the Rotary meeting. I believe it's next Wednesday. In any event, any other questions about communications?
Just also wanted to add about that you said going to Rotary. There are a list of tons of events that we are going to attend, and also obviously board members will attend, but I do want to put it out also to the community that if they have an event that they know is happening in and around the community that they think would be a good fit for us to be there and speak about the referendum, please send us an email, let us know. We'd love to spread the word. So thank you.
The list of those community events is located on our referendum website that we're currently attending, so.
Where's Danielle? Oh, Danielle, curriculum update?
Yep. The curriculum committee met on April 4th. Those in attendance from administration were Dr. McNeely, Dr. Benton, Dr. Hassel, and Ms. Rowe. From the board was myself, Jackie Barnes, Claudine Morano, and Ruchika Aurora. We first discussed the Gifted and Talented program. A presentation was given by Dr. Hassel and Ms. Rowe under the direction of Dr. Benton. It provided insight into the history of the program, the current state of the program, and the plan for modifications and enhancements for now and into the future. And the curriculum committee will follow up with another update in June from that group. The committee was also presented with the WAM summer reading selections for the 7th grade. They will be reading New Kid, and 8th grade will be reading I Will Always Write Back. This was provided as informational. There's no board approval, and it was clarified that summer reading is not technically part of the board-approved curriculum, as these selections are not mandatory reading but strongly recommended. A summer packet was also attached for each book. The committee was also notified of the creation of the Office of Learning Equity and Academic Recovery, also known as LEAR, and its requirements, and this office was formed after legislation was signed into law in August of 2024. We also discussed a research request, and then we discussed field trips. There's one new field trip on for board approval. Actually, I think there's 2 new field trips on for board approval, right? The students at UES will be taking a field trip to Muddy Paws. The committee discussed recommendations from Dr. Benton regarding the efficiency improvements for the proposed location requests, and those improvements to the process would not affect any policies, but it would allow for programmatic overviews to be board approved upfront for the upcoming school year. That's it. Any questions?
All right, next up, finance and operations. Mick?
So the Finance and Operations Committee met on April 14th. In addition to myself, the board members in attendance were Jackie Barnes, Danielle Miller, and Brooke Myatt. Administration was represented by Dr. McNeely, Mr. Heiser, Mrs. Butler, Mr. Airy, and Ms. Ostrowski. So we started off talking about the budget, high-level news. Our budget was approved by the county. They had a few questions about operational components, and we had to provide a little bit more support for some of the documentation that we submitted, but it was approved. We also talked about the EDC budget, the extended day program budget. Even though that's not a part of the formal budget, it was informational for the committee and wanted the board to be aware. One of the highlights was that the fees for that program are not increasing this year, following our tradition of trying to hold steady for at least 2 years. And also, we do evaluate what's going on with other programs, but the good news is for the community, the fees for those programs are not increasing. Then we talked about other things like the pay rates for some of our facilities people and what they get for things like Black Seal. In May, the updated information on that will be presented to the committee. We then moved on and briefly talked about the 2025-26 Board of Education meeting schedule. In the minutes that were shared with the board, that list is there of all those meeting dates. The one thing to note was the board meeting in September was moved to not conflict with the potential referendum vote on the 16th. So I believe we would meet on Thursday in September as opposed to Tuesday because the vote would be on Tuesday. So that was the highlight there. Moving on, we talked about some of the contracts. Just something that maybe the committees may want to speak to Mr. Heiser about, discuss a little bit further. Burlington County Special Services District provides a lot of professional services for the district, for all the districts in the county, but they are reconsidering sunsetting some of their services. And if that were to happen, the district would have to figure out some ways to replace those. Nothing's been decided yet that we know of, right? Do you want to speak to that a little bit, James?
Yeah, and if I could just jump in and add a little bit of color to that. This is specifically related to non-public services. So some non-public funding is passed through our district for our non-publics here in Moorestown. And we have a contract with ESU, which is under Burlington County Special Services, to provide those services. They have not eliminated those services, but they are discussing it and discussing the impact that that would have on districts. So more to come on that, but it's something that they did put on our radar.
Yep.
But that's specific to the non-publics, not the
Sorry.
services that we
Yes.
use from them.
Thank you for that clarification. Moving on, I guess of importance to everybody here, the administration is looking at a new board package solution and has narrowed down on one. And so they're going to start transitioning to that. Besides being a better solution, it'll also be a little bit more cost effective. And then speaking of cost efficiency, the district is mandated to keep track of lots of records. And right now we have an off-site storage facility to manage those records. The district administration, James's office primarily, is undertaking a process to evaluate that and look at changing that relationship that we have. And potentially bringing those records back to the district, making sure that we're keeping what needs to be kept and not necessarily storing what doesn't need to be kept and disposing of that in a proper way. But ultimately, over the long term, this is to be better at record keeping and then also to save money. So there's more, if you need more information on that, I'm sure James would be happy to talk to you about that, but just to give you the high level on that. Also, really an interesting development. Due to changes about how the state identifies qualifying students, our district has reached the threshold for providing a breakfast program at more schools. Right now we have a program at Roberts for breakfast, but we would now be required to add one at UES, WAMS, and the high school. And because we'd be doing it at 4 of the 6 schools, we would just do it for all of the schools. The good thing about that, besides providing this service for more students who need it, is that we could be more, I guess, direct in how we communicate it, because it would be at every school. So James's office is exploring how to do that, and there'll be more information on that forthcoming. But again, the high level is that it looks like we'll probably be providing, would it be by next year?
Yes.
A breakfast opportunity for all students, and it would be free or reduced for specific students. All right, we had some bid openings and contract renewals. The ones to kind of primarily take note of, bus routes. We got more bus routes contracted through a bid process, but there are some that still were not picked up by bidders, so we can then work directly with companies to take care of those routes. Looks like we'll have a new contractor for our custodial services, but the good news is that bidder, if everything holds up with their bid, it would just be a smooth transition because they already use a lot of the same contractors, and they're party to the same agreements, primarily 32BJ, the union. So we expect little turnover in that transition process. And then the HVAC upgrades. We received multiple bids. I'm sure by now you've gone through them a little bit more, but at the time when we met, we were reviewing the low bid with our architects to ensure it meets all of our needs. Let's see. Moving on, we talked about, our trash removal services bid, banking services, instructional and related services, and our lease purchase RFP. Main thing is, with that, we were looking at potentially, we've had the same provider for our banking services. We're talking with them about being more competitive and then maybe looking at some other options there. Let's see, and then rounding it out, we had several donations. I think they're in the agenda tonight for approval. $4,000 from Power Engineers for the Moorestown Science Fair, which is very much appreciated. $200 for the golf team from Andrew and Jennifer Browing, I think is how you say that, and then $300 from Robert and Sandy Hogg for the girls golf team. And the girls golf team, I did see just one Burlington County, or was it sectionals? They were just Burlington County, yes. So congratulations to them on that. We talked about withdrawal of some funds from our capital reserve to take care of the issues with the high school, the chillers, those facilities at the high school. We were able to negotiate with the company. They're honoring the warranty on much of the work, and then we're going to use this renewal program that'll replace the consumable supplies and should be a very cost-effective way to manage that. And then finally, we discussed the meeting we had on April 15th to discuss details of the referendum and looked at the potential tax impacts and made sure that information was ready for us to discuss on the April 15th meeting. So that was our lengthy agenda and conversation. So any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
The potential cuts in the programming through Burlington County Social Services, what could that mean for our district, practically speaking, right?
Let James.
So many of those services, well, all of those services are provided by Burlington County Special Services School District. So if they, number one, we don't know if they're going to cut back on certain services or all of them, and they're just in the discussion phase right now. But if they cut back on all of them, we would still have to provide the services, and we would have to either provide it in-house or contract with another company, and we would look to contract with another company. We've done that in the past. We have what's called a consultation meeting every year. It's required by the state, so we sit down with the non-publics to gain an understanding of their needs, and at that point, they can say, you know, what type of vendors they want to work with for what needs. But we're responsible for doing the contracting because the money's passed from the state through us.
And the services that you're talking about are like providing
Some of it's
speech
nursing,
services?
yeah, some of it's
Okay.
nursing, could be speech, textbooks, security, those types of funds, comp ed services.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And these are for not enrolled students.
That's correct. These are for the non-public.
Only non-publics.
Ready?
Any other questions? Claudine,
I'm up.
policy?
Last but not least. Exactly. Policy Committee met on April 9th. It was myself, Melissa Arcaro-Burns, Jill Fellows-Macaluso, Mark Villanueva, and Dr. McNeely, Dr. Benton, and Jeff Airy from the administration. You'll see 3 policies and 1 regulation on first reading tonight. 2 of them are mandatory from the state. One is 8500, it's food services. We're just making updates that Strauss Esme recommends, reflecting federal and state law changes on eligibility for free and reduced lunch. The administration told us we're already compliant with these changes in advance of approving this policy. As well as policy and regulation 7441, which is electronic surveillance, which was interesting to learn about anyway. It updates new requirements for a memorandum of understanding with the police department and who can access our live surveillance in an emergency situation. So one of the changes, for example, is that we keep a record of who specifically at the police department is designated as that authorized person, and Jeff has confirmed that person, and we have to track that. The spectator code of conduct policy, which is mandatory for us, but not mandated by the state. So the important distinction is as a member district of the New Jersey, I always get this wrong, SIAA, right, which is the Interscholastic Athletic Association. They have required, well, their member districts to adopt a policy on spectator conduct. The policy, hopefully you all read it, essentially discusses procedures relating to what is unsportsmanlike from a spectator perspective, and any discipline or restrictions or limitations that we can place as a district on a spectator who has bad behavior. That could be expulsion from the game or expulsion from future attendance of games. As far as our student or athlete conduct, it's covered under the code of conduct that we already have. So this is specifically for spectators. So those are the 3 policies on first reading. Any questions on any of those policies? A chance? Okay. At that meeting, we did have, I guess similar to F&O and you guys making a decision on the board program, we did meet with a representative from the New Jersey School Boards Association that gave us an outline of what their policy service is compared to what we're using now, which is Strauss Esme. It's in the hands of the administration to decide what to do with that, but it was kind of a interesting perspective just to see how they do things differently or better or not so much, and that hopefully we'll make a decision on that and be able to share that with you. And the items for discussion that we had, so we are virtually at the point where we're ready to propose for first reading a cell phone policy. We have some few steps to make, and Dr. McNeely will be communicating directly with the community this week, letting you know what we're looking at, kind of throwing out the general ideas and potentially having a survey of the parents in the community just to see where you are and see if we're on the same page. That policy we've kind of gone over broadly over the last couple of months is an away for the day kind of policy where, we're going to limit access to cell phones outside of inside instructional time. It'll vary from maybe like K through 8 and then high school. But primarily, this is something that we've been talking about doing even before the state was talking about doing it, and now other districts have adopted. The state's looking at legislation. Governor Murphy's interested in signing something, so we're really ahead of, the game here. So I'm hoping that we'll get some good feedback from the community, and then by the next policy committee meeting, we'll be able to incorporate that and make sure that we're all on the same page on there. Let's see, what else? There was some discussion to review existing district policies and model policies covering corporate sponsorships, memorials, and other recognitions within the district. And as usual, we always have a line item where the administration gives us updates on how implementation is going with new policies that we've passed. Our next meeting is May 7th, and that's what I have.
Questions?
Any questions?
Thanks, Claudine. Anybody have an off-board committee report?
I am reporting for More Arts. Their comedy night was a success. They will have a district art show at the Community House on Moorestown Day on June 7th. On June 11th, they are doing a collaboration concert with the Park and Rec Center. And then on 6/16 at the Perkins Center, they will be featuring songs by Lauren Deschong from Roberts Elementary. They will have the opening act be some kids from with the kids from the library. That'll start at 6:30 p.m. and the main act at 7 p.m. That's going to be free. And at 6:28, they are having Mother Goose at the library at 10 a.m. in room A. And that is all I have for more arts. Thank you.
Just want to give you an update on Speak, which met on April 10th. Nothing very specific. I think it's just very interesting. Dave and Leslie give amazing updates at Speak, and they have a really captured audience there and able to answer a lot of questions. So it's been really educational for me to kind of see that interaction. They also have had Dr. McNeely attend all of their meetings since she's come on board. So, they've come up to me and just said how absolutely amazing that experience is for them. They have not had that in the past, to have a superintendent that attends and is that focused. So I wanted to share that. Obviously, April was Autism Acceptance Month, so there was a lot of activities going around the district that they helped facilitate with faculty and the students. And I think there was a long discussion and very favorable discussion about neurodiversity training for faculty across all faculty that had happened. So those are the updates.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I'll give another plug for MEF, the Moorestown Education Foundation. Danielle and I sit on the foundation as advisory members on behalf of the board. And I know they are looking for volunteers to join the organization. They do a lot of fundraising and provide a lot of grant opportunities to the school district and are a really, really important part of our academic mission. And so if anybody's interested in joining MEF, reach out to me or Courtney or Danielle, and we'll be sure to put you in touch with the right people at the organization. Because again, they are looking for volunteers, and I think it's a great opportunity to contribute to the school district and to our kids. Any other off-board committee reports? Okay. This is now our first public comment section. This is for public comment related to items listed in the agenda. There'll be a second public comment section towards the end of the meeting for comments on or off the agenda. The rules of the road are set forth in the written agenda if you have a copy. I just ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, and if you do choose to make a comment, state your name and address before making it. Could I get a motion to open public comment? So moved. All in favor? All right, thanks. If you'd like to make a public comment on our agenda items, the floor is yours.
Hi, Sarah Gerber, 8 West Maple Avenue. I just wanted to make the board aware, as a unit, I've spoken to a few of you privately, but there is a bit of an upswelling for this movement. It's called Wait Until 8th. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a cell phone policy, so I'm looking at you, sorry. It's a pledge that empowers parents to rally together to delay giving children a smartphone until at least the end of 8th grade. And I know that, at least at Baker, where my kids attend, I think there's 10 families per grade that have already pledged this. The idea being that it makes it easier as a community to delay the smartphone. I'm sharing this because I think there might actually be an appetite for a school-free or a cell phone-free school, certainly at the lowers. So maybe not this go-around, but I'm excited about, giving feedback. I think there might be an opportunity moving forward. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, could I get a motion to close public comment? All in favor? Okay, we are now, so tonight we are approving the budget for the 2025-2026 school year. If you recall, at last month's meeting, there was a robust presentation by Cabinet with respect to our budget, the things that we are accomplishing in our budget, and all the details surrounding it. After the board approved the budget, it was sent to the county, and as Mick had reported, the county had a few questions and approved our budget, so now it is back to us for final approval. However, this is the opportunity for a hearing on our budget, and for those that wish to comment on the budget, this is the opportunity to do so. Could I get a motion to open the public hearing on the 2025 to 2026 budget? All in favor? Okay, if anybody has a question or comment on the budget, you can take the microphone. All right, seeing nobody approaching, could I get a motion to close the public hearing on the 2025 to 2026 budget? I'm not going to recite the adoption, the resolution.
Just need to vote on that,
Right, okay.
on the motion to close.
Oh, you're right, thank you. Could I get a, thanks. All in favor of closing the budget hearing? Article 9 of our agenda is the adoption of the final budget for the 2025-2026 school year. I'm not going to read the text that is set forth in our written agenda, but could I get a motion for the approval? So moved. Second. Any comments or questions? Well, go ahead.
This was another one of those years where it was very challenging to get to a balanced budget that still preserved the essence and I guess pith of our programs and services. So I really just want to applaud this administration, the staff, faculty, everybody for all their work. I think too, if you look around, there are communities not far from here who had a much, I shouldn't say ours wasn't difficult, but a much harder struggle to maintain their services and programs. And also with respect to, you know, what they ask of their taxpayers. So I just want to commend our, you know, our team here for what we were able to do with this budget. And happy to have been part of it, and thank you for all the work.
Yeah, I echo everything Mick said except for pith. I'm not quite sure I'd be able to define it. I was not so fortunate.
I think Barbara Fine was the original, for the record.
Okay, in any event, if this is a, does anybody else have a comment? All right, could I get a roll call vote?
Ms. Arcara Burns? Yes. Mrs. Aurora? Yes. Mrs. Barnes? Yes. Mrs. Fowles Macaluso? Yes. Dr. Myatt? Mrs. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Morano? Yes. Mr. Weeks?
Yes.
Mr. Villanueva?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Article 10 of the agenda. Could I get a motion for approval of items 1 through 5 in Article 10? Any comments or questions? All in favor? Thank you. Recommendations of the superintendent, Article 11, including policies for first reading. Could I get a motion for approval of the policies for first reading? Comments or questions? All in favor? Any noes or abstentions? Thank you. Article 11B, educational program. Could I get a motion for the approval of items 1 and 2? Second. Comments or questions? All in favor? Noes or abstentions?
I'm abstaining as to 2.
Thank you. Article 11C, finance and business. Hold on one second. I just want to refamiliarize myself with this. Could I get a motion for the approval of items 1 through 18? Any comments or questions? All in favor? Noes or abstentions?
I'm abstaining as the 14.
you. Item D, employee relations as amended, is set forth in the amendment we received in executive session. Can I please get a motion for approval of items 1 to 16? Would anybody like to second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Or, I'm sorry, this is a roll call vote.
Ms. Arcaro Burns,
Yes.
Mrs. Aurora, Mrs. Barnes,
Yes.
Mrs. Fowles Macaluso, Dr. Myatt, Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Morano, Mr. Weeks, Mr. Villanueva.
Yes, just for clarity, that was for items 1 to 16.
Everybody clear on that?
Article 12, the suspensions which are set forth in the exhibit, we take no action on those. The superintendent's HIB report in item B, could I please get a motion for the approval of the HIB cases as discussed in executive session last month? Comments, questions? All in favor? Noes or abstentions? Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Any old business? Any new business? Up to our second public comment section. This is for public comment on items. Oh, actually, let me pause for a moment. Congratulations. Welcome to Moorestown. Look forward to working with you and seeing all the great work you do at UES. Public comment section. This is the second public comment section for anything on or off the agenda. Same rules apply. Please limit your comment to roughly 3 minutes and state your name and address before making your comment. Can I get a motion to open public comment? All in favor? All right. Thank you. Time's yours.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for all being here. I'm Audrey Barton. I work at WHAM, so I'm not a Moorestown resident. I live in Florence. But I'd like to commend and thank everyone. As the superintendent had shared, for the first time, WHAM's hosted and participated in the Burlington County Battle of the Books. Out of the 14 teams, our media specialist, Amanda Vogelai, was really excited to bring home the win. Students read 15 books in preparation for the event, and then as they practiced their rounds after school, when they competed and had those 2 50-minute sessions and the questions that they went through, they were really excited to place first and win the competition. Also happening here last month, we had Lindsay Pacey, one of our 7th grade science teachers, coordinated the annual STEM Career Day. I teach STEM here, so it's really exciting to see individuals from our community come in and talk about the great things that they're doing in school or outside of school so that our kids at school can get a little glimpse of that. 31 STEM professionals were presenting to the students about their careers and their career paths, and the homerooms were able to hear from 3 different individuals. So it really was a great morning, and I think the kids and the presenters really enjoy it. Thanks to Home and School for the little gift bags that all the presenters received. They enjoyed them. Oasis Club also had baked casseroles led by Maria Polcini and Sarah Arrow. The casseroles went to local community members in need, and at the moment they're collecting toiletries to make baskets for those domestic violence shelters that they're participating with. And we also had an Autism Acceptance Week this month. Videos and activities and a school-wide art display was facilitated by the guidance counselors, demonstrating inclusivity and spreading the kindness to others. We look forward to the band and orchestra and vocal concerts coming up this May, almost this month, but thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marion Baker. I teach third grade at Roberts School, and I wanted to thank Roberts staff who participated in the Phillies Reading Challenge. We had the Philly Fanatic visit Roberts Elementary School. We were also featured on ABC News. Mrs. Wood, Mrs. Axemet, and Mrs. Potts' classes were the ones that participated in the reading challenge. Miss Potts' first grade class won the challenge, hence the visit from the Fanatic. We enjoyed an amazing school-wide assembly. And we also did have STEM Week at Roberts Elementary, where various community members, many of them parents of our own students, presented science lessons to our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lori Beckendorf, and I'm a resource room teacher at South Valley. I'll be sharing some good news about Baker School this evening, and I am a former Baker Bear. That is where I went to elementary school. So to start off, the Baker Bears, some of the Baker Bears celebrated a very special milestone in the community. Mrs. McGrath's neighbor, Miss Brooks, turned 100 years old. With coordination from Mrs. Yaris, Mrs. Kulik, Mrs. Kuzi, Mrs. Lee, Mrs. Hagan, and Mrs. Jazzy, and all kindergarten classes, and Yaris and Mrs. McGrath's class walked over to visit Miss Brooks. Miss Brooks' family, former Baker Bears, also contacted Channel 6 Action News to help honor the occasion, making it a joyful moment for the entire Baker community. In another show of support, Baker students in Mrs. Kulik's class created cards for the U.S. Army Division stationed in Poland. With the help of Officer Jim, the students wrote heartfelt messages to show appreciation for the troops serving overseas. It was a wonderful way to connect the students to a greater cause. Meanwhile, in the classroom, second grade students in Mrs. Bottinelli's class explored The Wild Robot by comparing the book to the movie. Students created Venn diagrams and wrote paragraphs to explain which version they preferred and why, building both critical thinking and writing skills in the process. On April 7th, students in Mrs. Olson's second grade class celebrated National Schwa Day. They spent time learning about the most common vowel sound in the English language and had fun recognizing and practicing words with the schwa sound. It was a great way to combine phonics practice with a little extra celebration. It's nice to hear that's being celebrated because it's one of the hardest skills for students to learn. Finally, all of our second graders showcased their musical talents in a concert led by Mrs. Durzinen. On April 11th, celebrating Earth Day, the students performed songs and shared messages about protecting the planet, creating a memorable experience for families and staff alike. Baker Elementary continues to thrive as the students and staff come together to celebrate learning, community, and kindness. And one little tidbit on the cell phone policy, I have two high schoolers at Cherokee High School, and they just adopted something this year with little cell phone pockets that are in every classroom. And the high schoolers put their cell phone in the pocket when they come in the morning, or to class, each class. And back to school night, the teachers were raving about it. It's been a great, really, really great movement there. So, and I've seen a change there as well. So just, sharing from another town. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Jennifer Barnes. I teach first grade South Valley. I would like to commend Mary Beth Reyes, a second grade teacher, who won an award for her Excite online reading program that she does with her students. Thank you to Mary Beth for using this innovative story program that can be used in school as well as at home. Our entire school also participated in a mock trial with parents who work in the legal field. Students were witnesses and jurors. Thank you to Home and School for helping with facilitating this program. It was a huge success. Our students absolutely loved it. Also, thank you to the first, second, and third grade teachers who prepared the students to participate in the trial. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa Battersby, and I teach at the UES. This month at the UES, the Home and School hosted the Spring Book Fair Fiesta. The book fair was available from April 7th through the 11th, and then they had Family Night on April 10th. Students from the UES also enjoyed participating in the Science Fair on April 9th. Finally, April 15th through the 17th, the UES hosted a Holocaust speaker for sixth grade classes. This was a very unique opportunity for students to hear from a family member of a survivor of the Holocaust. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura G. Bard. I am the job developer for the work-based learning program at the high school, and I'm going to highlight some of our teachers' activities there. Mrs. Jill Ludwig, the art teacher and robotics team advisor, took 6 students from her Crafts of the World to the Tri-State Ability Show. The 6 students are won awards in a juried exhibit called Watch Us Glow. Also, as a robotics team advisor, she assisted her team that brought home both the Sustainability and Imagery Award at the most recent competition. Mrs. Mel Antler, the 2024 MHS yearbook was included in the Johnston's lookbook for its excellence in design. A big congratulations to the advisor for all of her hard work. And lastly, Miss Johnson took numerous madrigal singers and some instrumentalists to Austria over spring break this year, where they were able to perform in many wonderful venues and visit many churches. They also saw many cities and towns. Thank you to Miss Johnson for spending hundreds of hours organizing this trip for the madrigals. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have a public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in favor? Does anybody have anything for the good of the order?
I do, if I could.
Sure.
See if I can get through this. So, thank you. So friends of ours, and friends of many out there in the community, Casey and Kristen Hannon, lost their son, their middle son, Jack, in August of 21, and just prior to his 6th birthday. As a beautiful gift from a horrific life experience, they have decided to contribute to our community in various ways. The first was by building Full Throttle Field at Memorial Field. It's a real wiffle ball field modeled after Citizens Bank Park. And this year, well, let me back up. They also donated, I don't know if anyone remembers from graduation, but the Full Throttle inflatable that our graduates, the tunnel, yes, that they walked through. They've also donated that to the community. And the way that they've been able to do this is through an annual golf outing. So this year on May 19th, it will be the 3rd annual Full Throttle golf outing. And the proceeds from this year's event are going to go to an inclusive playground, which they will be building at Wesley Bishop Field. And it is going to support kids with all sorts of differing abilities and focus on STEM, and it's an amazing looking playground. They actually just were awarded a grant from the state of New Jersey, which was huge for them. Anyway, so May 19th, you can, if anybody is interested or wants to learn more about Full Throttle Fund, you can go to fullthrottlefield.com and get all of the details. Just as a personal note, Jack was super 100% all the time, every minute of the day, and he was full throttle, and that's why these hold that name. Anyway, thanks for indulging.
Thanks, Melissa. It's interesting. I had my 8-year-old at Memorial Field a couple days ago to watch his sister's soccer game, and he loves playing on the Full Throttle Field. And as far as he's concerned, it's just this awesome field, right? That's that's there that the kids can play on. And he looked over at me and he said, "What does JCH stand for?" Because right in center field, you know, it's a beautiful, as you said, it's modeled after Citizens Bank, but there's a big flag that says JCH. So I had the opportunity to, you know, explain to him, and I think Jack was in his grade, you know, why it's such a meaningful and awesome part of our community. So in any event, thanks for mentioning it, and it's obviously a lot of light in the face of, you know, the darkest tragedy. So thank you for mentioning it. And does anybody else have anything for the good of the order? All right, with that, could I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor?